KwaZulu Safari Park, situated in a valley of 1,000 hills here in KwaZulu-Natal. Now, this park is one of the most popular and has welcomed people from all over the world, both international. Now, the feet that have crossed through here has been 125,000 people. But since the lockdown, this business has been severely affected. The tourism industry as a whole in the country contributes 8.6% to the GDP and also supports 1.5 million people, but the tourism across the province is in dire straits. And now KwaZulu-Natal, the province, the Zulu Kingdom, is trying to revamp, support businesses like this to get back on their feet. With me right now, I do have Jens Reisach. He is the General Manager of KwaZulu Safari Park, talking about the recovery plan and how it has affected them, COVID-19 pandemic, but also where to from here. Thank you so much for joining us, Jens. It's been a very difficult year, very difficult 7 months. For this particular park, what are you guys going to be implementing? And tell us, how have your challenges been?
Well, our challenges, we've changed the entire business model all in all. We used to have lots of school groups, lots of cruise liners coming through. All that has, of course, disappeared with the international tourism disappearing. So we're really reluctant, or reliant, should I rather say, on our local tourism right now, which is giving us a fair amount of feet through the door. It's not there where we used to be, but we can't complain at all at this point in time. And as time progresses, we can see it's also getting better and better by the week, if we can call it that.
Now, in terms of costs and losses, how has it affected the business here?
Well, we've had massive job losses to a degree, but instead of having actual job losses, we're actually rotating staff to a large degree as well, so we didn't have to retrench anyone, luckily, at this point in time. So what we're doing, we've got staff working on 1 week and then they're off for the next week, so that's how we're at least managing to support all our staff members as far as possible. Of course, it is difficult throughout. We have had people leave due to other reasons, that they had better opportunities somewhere else, which is of course also not necessarily the greatest for us, but it's always good going forward and having a plan going into the future, which currently our little game reserve is having a lot of local people coming through, both on the hiking routes and on the game drives.
Now, we saw the border posts being opened and there's more people coming into the country. We've got several airlines also operational now. Are you hoping that maybe once the feet start trailing into KwaZulu-Natal, we're also gearing up for December holidays, that it will somewhat pick up? In terms of what you've seen, in terms of the recovery plan here at this business, how many people have flocked to KwaZulu Safari Park? How many people daily?
We've had days, for example, Heritage Day, where we've had almost 300 people through our doors on that specific day, which is very close to what we used to have every single day of the year. So that was quite nice to see. Our weekends are relatively busy, where we've got an average 150 to 200 people coming through, but that's pretty much all our primary business coming through at this point in time. So the weeks themselves are still extremely quiet, and that of course has to do with people having to work. So once the international tourism reopens, or shall I say it gets going the way it used to be, we should see more tourists coming through on the weekdays as well.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
That was Jens Reisach, the General Manager at KwaZulu Safari Park, telling us about the recovery plan for the business, but also what they're going to be implementing, rotating staff fundamentally also to keep those jobs here. Several activities happen here. There's Zulu dancing. As you can see, I'm dressed in beautiful Zulu attire, and this is the place, the hub, where many international folk come to experience the Zulu experience and experience the culture, the diversity, and the rich history in KwaZulu-Natal. Now, just to talk about the recovery plan from the economic sector, I am joined by Ndaba Sabia. He is the spokesperson for MEC Nomusa Dube. She is the tourism MEC, and we're going to be chatting to him about what is the department going to be doing. Ndaba, it's been a difficult year. We've seen tourism picking up slowly in the province, but just as a whole, what are the losses looking like?
Well, thank you very much. And as you correctly point out, over the past 4 months, the MEC for Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Nomsa Dube, she's been interacting with stakeholders in the tourism industry, obviously looking at how to turn around the situation. If you look at, the contribution of the tourism industry into the KZN economy, you're looking at about 16 billion rands, contributed by the tourism industry just before the lockdown. You're looking at about more than 740,000 direct jobs, contributed by the tourism industry. And then, as you correctly point out, this is the sector that has been hardest hit, as a result of the outbreak of, COVID-19. And we can, report that, through our agency, the KZN, Trade and Investment KwaZulu-Natal, we've been able to assist more than 607, establishments in the tourism industry. Each establishment, receiving more than, 50,000 rand. And we've also been able to assist, tourist guides, looking at about, 357 tourist guides that have been assisted through the tourism, Trade and Investment KwaZulu-Natal. Our agency, KwaZulu-Natal Tourism Authority, has been working very hard with all stakeholders in the tourism industry to ensure that we are able to turn around the situation. A couple of weeks ago, the MEC Nomsa Tubenube was in Port Shepstone, together with the MEC for Transport, Community Safety and Liaison, Pegicele, inspecting the renovations of Market Airport, because the MEC believes that, for us to be able to attract, tourists into the province, we need to invest in the transport infrastructure. They inspected the renovations of Market Airport, about 10 million rand, injected by the provincial government, towards the renovation of the airport. Umkhuze Airport is being renovated as we speak, with a budget of about 60 million. These are some of the, the plans that the MEC has put in place to turn around the situation.
Now, we also know that several hotels in Durban have also closed down and also seeking assistance from government. Can you tell us more about that? I know there's also some beds that are, filling up, especially in Belito, especially in the North Coast, Mhlanga. We've seen some people flocking to those areas. There's been some rejuvenation there in terms of the sector.
Well, we are blessed as the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We've got a plethora of fauna and flora. For the hikers, you go to the Drakensberg Mountain. For the beach goers, we've got the longest coastline. Our agency, the KZN Sharks, board, is deploying the cutting-edge technology to ensure the safety of our beach goers. There's correlation between, the safe bathing and tourism. 98% of our tourists, they come to KwaZulu-Natal, just to go to the beach, and we are saying, come to the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We've got, KZN Sharks board that is ensuring that, they are safe on the beach, and we are working with all, municipalities across the province. A couple of weeks ago, the MEC had a meeting, the tourism investment conference, attended by the mayors across the province, where the focus was on, the deployment of resources, in all district municipalities. Because if you talk about tourism does not happen at the national and provincial level. It happens at provincial level. It happens at a local level. That is why, there's a focus, in terms of the investment in the infrastructure at local level, to make it a point that when you come to the province of KwaZulu-Natal, you have that memorable experience.
Talking about investment also and flying back into communities in Davi, what's happening with rural tourism in the province?
Well, I think that is, another focus. A couple of weeks ago, we visited the community of KwaXolo, where the MEC, and the local leadership interacted with local communities there. They visited the KwaXolo Caves, where the Khoisan community lived 100 years ago, and I think it was quite exciting to see local communities, being integrated into the mainstream tourism industry. That is what the MEC is saying, that look, as we move forward, we need to make it a point that thousands and thousands of people are absorbed, by this sector of our economy. There is also a focus on the reskilling of the workers. Some of the workers that, for instance, were retrenched in one hotel have been employed by another hotel. We, witnessed the opening of restaurants in Umhlanga Arc. We're talking about 1.3 billion investment, and it is quite heartwarming to see developers, expressing confidence in KwaZulu-Natal, saying they will be, going around the globe, inviting investors, to come and explore investment in KwaZulu-Natal. That is why when we go to different parts of the province, we go with ambassadors, the high commissioners. We take them to explore, facilities that requires investment, and we are very confident that as we move forward, we are going to turn around the situation.
Thank you so much for that meticulous breakdown, Ndaba. That was Ndaba Sivia. He is the spokesperson for MEC in the province of tourism. That is Nomusa Dube-Ncube, breaking down what exactly the recovery plan is going to be for tourism in the province, but also the investment that is going to be made, and also how businesses are faring here. Government will be supporting many businesses. They are going to ensure that the rural tourism sector also revives, especially after being hit very hard by COVID-19. And with that, it's back to you in studio.